It's because and I'll say it with the fun phrase, it's because in China, the billionaires don't tell the government what to do.
在中国生活25年的美国人说，未来甚至可能轮到美国向中国学习。这句话很夸张，真正值得听的是他怎样把语言、产业政策、5年规划和公共目标连在一起。
Can we talk about business in China? Because, there is still, I think, when I'm on social media, let's just put it this way. I get a lot of people asking me, oh, I would love to come to China and do business. You have done all kinds of different businesses in China. Is there still opportunity? Is there still room for Americans to come over to China to establish some sort of business, whether it be local or import-export or whatever? Is there opportunity if you could start over? You're 18 years old with all the wisdom that you have now. What kind of, ventures would you become engaged in?
Wow, what a question. If I was let's make some little tweak. Let's tweak your question and to make it a really good one. If you were, say, post-college, post-grad, 21 years old, 22 years old, and then you were arriving in China and you could speak the language. Let's add that tweak, okay? And you could speak the language because you did study the language in university for a year. I admire those guys. Are you one of those guys? Did you study in Dashui? Chinese?
I studied, yeah. Yes, I did.
So,
One
right.
year.
Can you read?
I can read about 1,000 characters.
Wow. Okay. So you guys are way ahead of me. I mean, I can speak very well, but I never you need to go to university to get the foundation of the reading and the writing. I didn't do that. So let's say you arrived in China and I'm 22 years old and I can read the newspaper and speak the language well. What business is possible? Well, first of all, let's make the distinction that in that respect, I wonder whether you'd agree with me, but it doesn't make a difference what foreign country you're from, as long as you're from one of the Western G7 countries. I don't think that to this day, I don't think that a local Chinese businessman treats Americans any different than they treat Italians, French, Germans, or any other major foreign country. I noticed no difference. And in fact, when I went to a dinner the other night, I went to another. I have many dinners with a very good friend of mine here where we get together and we have dinners very frequently with a lot of very wealthy and comfortable retired Chinese businessmen, Dongbei businessmen, and Dongbei municipal and provincial retired government officials. And they're all bored and they all have lovely, and they're wonderful people. They're warm people. I love having dinners with all of them. And two of them were new at the table. This just 2 nights ago, Jason. Two of them were brand new. And they all, in China, in Dongbei here, Chinese men drink the baijiu and they become more warm and authentic, genuine people from their heart. They don't become obnoxious at all. They become warm, kind. They're very kind, deep, convicted, kind-hearted people here in Dongbei. And then they'll stand up and everyone will stand up and offer their warm thoughts to the table. It's wonderful. This is Dongbei culture. I think a bit up in Beijing as well, but you don't get this kind of warmth of heart at these kind of dinners, say, living in Shanghai. Sorry, but you don't. And this one gentleman in particular said, and he would go to each person and offer his good wishes to each guest around the table. And when he came to me, how honored we are to have our American friend, our American guest. He was so happy and respectful that an American friend was here in the room with them. And he meant it very sincerely. So to him, as we talked about earlier, right, the earlier question, it made the issues with America, the trouble with the wars, the trouble with the propaganda, the trouble with the relationship, none of that superseded his feeling of being so happy to meet an American friend of China. Not that I was just a foreign friend of China, but that I was an American. It was great to him. And I'm telling you, to this day, living in the local culture as I do amongst Chinese for 25 years, that is still the way it is. People still ignore all that crap and still have great respect for American people, as well as Italian and German and French and Spanish and all the other countries. So having said all that, I'm going to move to the weak area of my conversation with you, which is I don't have great answers for you on what business a foreigner should start. On that regard, I'm not going to say I've got great answers. I haven't started and then sold for $10 million 4 different companies. Okay. I've got great success in business. I really enjoy my work in the acting industry. I just was the featured foreigner in another brand new movie. We just shot for 2 weeks down in Foshan, down in Guangzhou. Of course, the movie's not out yet, so I literally, legally am not able to tell you any more about that. But I played another featured role as the lead foreigner in another movie, and that's great. As you know, I played MacArthur in Crossing the Yalu River. I played General Clark in Chung Kai-gu's Juyenjin Korean War epic. So this is great work projects for me in the media industry, but that's not what most people are interested in when they come to China. It's tough to open a business in this environment. It's tough to start up a business in the US environment. Would you go to the United States to start up a business? It's tough. It's not easy. It's expensive. And what are your odds of success? I don't know. Now I'd love to be able to say, let's talk about the all important tech AI sector and give you a lot of insights into that. I'm simply not qualified. I don't have an answer. I'm not a tech guy. I'm learning how to be really good at prompting in AI. When you come over to the Chinese side to try to look at it in terms of business opportunities, we can make a good case that AI will create more business opportunities in China. And that's because the government here is making sure that AI is going to be used only in productive ways to improve the society and improve the economy. So, knowing that government policy, which is very different here in China, that's where an entrepreneur should focus their energy and efforts to consider, and how and where in business can I capitalize on that, specifically that government policy on AI. And the entrepreneur, businessman, business investor coming in needs to look at, has the good fortune to be able to look at China's brand new 5-year plan that just came out. You need to study that. So you need to look and see where, and it is tech and it is AI, where and how specifically China's policies point to where the best business opportunities lie.
Well, I wanted to ask you another question. Again, I didn't prepare you for, but you just touched upon the idea that some things that China's government do in terms of trying to help the people are targeted in a way that help the least well off, or at least, the people in the middle class. So my question is this. I said, I want to do a 2-part question. Because China spent decades learning from the United States and other countries around the world. What are they doing? Well, can we do that? Well, what part of what they're doing can we do that? How can we do it in a way that's unique to China? And that's in a huge part why China has been so successful, because it has not held back from replicating the successful aspects of other cultures and countries around the world over the last few decades. In your opinion, what can the United States learn from China that China is doing, and what can China learn from the United States that the United States is doing?
I'm going to focus on the first half of that question. What can the United States do to learn from China at this point? That's such a powerful question right now, because the tables are turning and reversing. And I have a very, very longtime friend who's quite wealthy back in Phoenix, and we spoke about that. And he has never been to China, but he's a really smart businessman. I have a lot of respect for his opinion about things. And he turned around, he made the comment to me a couple of years back during a conversation, and he said, oh no, he said, what's going on now? The tables are turning, and it's going to be America asking China for help. And he was one of the only people that had enough wisdom and insight to understand the validity of that question, of that point. Okay. And now here we are 2.5 years later, and it's becoming more and more true. You are going to have the United States has gotten itself, due to its corrupt government practices, due to terrible malfeasance by the Senate and the Democrats in the Oval Office, they have just wrecked that society over there. They have created such massive problems. And now they're turning to say, well, how are we going to fix this? And where are they looking? Well, they're looking at the number one most successful society on planet and economy. The number one, let me say it, please, China. Okay. The largest, safe, stable, successful, capable, and civilized economy and society on the planet. That's what China is. Okay. 100% factually, evidently true. Okay. And so now then what example is Europe? Is Italy that? No, not even close. Italy's a mess. England's a mess. France is a mess. Germany's a mess. Okay. China is the largest safe, stable, successful, capable civil society and economy on the planet. Okay. So where is the United States now looking to fix its problems? Which model? That model. Okay, so they're looking to see how the Chinese government does things. Nobody is studying the Chinese 5-year plans and how China has been managing China more than the good politicians of Washington who know that that is the answer to their problems. The way China's been doing it has been doing it right. Why? It's not even a complex answer, is it? It's really not even a complex answer. So, this is what the United States is looking at now. You want to run a good country? You want to run a stable country? You just watch what China's done for the last 30 years, especially since the year 2000, right? So the last 25 years. And by the good fortunes of fate, I've sat here the entire time and watched them do it. So what did they do? They just did balanced governance. They didn't run a pure communist model, which only divides everything up equally amongst the entire population. That doesn't work. That's an extreme. Pure communism doesn't work. But then on the other end, you have pure vulture capitalism, where nothing matters but profits. Corporations have no obligation to the society whatsoever. They only have obligation to the profitability to their shareholders, per share earnings. Okay? Per share earnings, the PE ratio. And if we lay off 50,000 workers, our earnings improve. Well, but what does laying off 50,000 workers do to the society? That's not our concern. We're a corporation. We're beholden to pure profits. Well, that's vulture capitalism, and that's the other extreme. Okay, and that's where America's at, right? So China's not in this extreme over here. China's doing both. China is saying, whoa. We have to build up. We have to continue solidifying the foundation of our stock market. We have to continue solidifying the foundation of our industries, building up our tech and AI sector. But along the way, we have to do all of that for the benefit of the entire country and entire society. We cannot neglect the people of the entire society. We cannot do that. So China's is the most balanced governance on the planet. It's the most balanced and stable and successful governance. And any Western politician and government leader can see exactly what Chinese governance is doing because it's spelled out in their 5-year plans and in their public annual 2 sessions Congress, right? And they're looking to China to say, we need help. What are we going to do? And they're looking to China. Now, you asked me the other question, the second half of your question, and I have no answer for you. What is China looking at America? Only one thing and one thing only: what not to do.
Well, I don't know. I think I agree with you, but I want to just put out the caveat. And I know this is going to offend a lot of Chinese people, but Hollywood movies are the best. So, I mean, if I was going to answer the question from your perspective, I would say probably a lot of cinematographers in China are looking at Hollywood movies and they're like, oh, well, that's still the benchmark in my opinion.
Sure. So absolutely. Yeah, certain fields, certain industrial fields where America's the best, and there's nothing like America's Hollywood. That's true. Though I think they've gone downhill in a lot of ways, but China, well, I don't know. I was going to say China never produced, like The Godfather, but again, that was back in the days. But China produced Chiang Kai-ge, My Farewell, My Concubine, and other Chinese classics are riveting movies, incredibly well filmed, but they're few and far between compared to America's Hollywood. We can't deny it. So you're right about that. So what other areas where America is still truly the best?
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
yeah,
no. I take it back. My wife, she was looking through Chinese eyes when we were on our 2-week trip to America. And we went into, I know this is a strange story. She really wanted to go to Wendy's because she had been to one 20 years ago in Malaysia. So we're like, okay, Wendy's of all places. Sure. We went to Wendy's and they have a touch screen computer with 100 different kinds of soda. And it's like an interactive computer to choose what flavor of soda you want. And that's just, and she made a video about this and posted it on Chinese social media, tens of thousands of responses. So I think in the area of fast food, America's way ahead.
Not only that, but I confirm, because I also, I have a thing, my vices or my junk food thing. And whenever I go back to the States, I'm like, oh, I need to go to all those wonderful places that are American iconic brands that are still not here in China. And one of those is Wendy's. And I did. I went to Wendy's and I ordered a double cheeseburger. And it was so good. It was so great. The In-N-Out burger is great. I mean, they're all so good, And so, yeah, America's still has its. And again, I said it. I went to America for 5 weeks. I'm not sitting here bashing America. I had a wonderful time.
先说清楚边界。马里奥·卡沃洛关于中国治理、美国政治和人工智能的许多说法都是个人判断，他不是人工智能专家，也不能用25年的居住经历替代制度研究。原片里他还把美国国会人数说错了。美国参议院是100席，众议院有435个有表决权席位。错误数字必须删掉。他对中国最成功，美国会向中国求助的绝对判断也不能直接当作事实。但这段对话仍然提供了一个有价值的观察。主持人问外国人今天还能不能到中国创业，卡沃洛没有兜售捷径，反而先加了2个条件：要懂中文，也要真正理解本地环境。国籍带来的新鲜感会消失，长期机会最终取决于行业能力、语言、信任和能否读懂政策方向。5年规划的作用也要准确理解，它不是一张保证企业赚钱的订单，更不能替代市场判断。它提供的是公开坐标，国家准备长期投入什么能力，哪些产业要补短板，技术怎样服务生产和生活，企业仍要竞争，也仍会失败。但基础设施、人才培养、科研投入和产业政策如果方向一致，社会就能少做一些彼此抵消的短期选择。卡沃洛用一句很夸张的话概括这种差别：在中国，不是亿万富翁告诉政府做什么，更准确的说法是，资本可以创新和获利，但公共权力必须设定边界，并对就业、产业安全和长期发展负责。中国真正的强项是把市场活力与公共目标放在同一套政策框架里，这个平衡并不天然完美，它仍需要清晰规则、稳定预期和对民营企业活力的保护。主持人随后提醒他，中国也有需要向美国学习的地方，比如电影工业和成熟的文化产品。这个反方不能删，中国过去几十年的发展本来就不是关起门来完成的，而是不断学习、吸收、再工程化。能把外部经验改造成适合自身条件的制度和产业能力，本身就是中国路径的重要组成部分。所以，美国是否真的会向中国求助，并不是本期结论。更值得注意的是，越来越多国家重新讨论产业政策、长期投资和公共目标时，中国已经提供了一个无法绕开的现实样本。中国的做法是在保留市场活力的同时，为资本设定公共目标， 并努力让技术、产业和财富创造服从更长的时间尺度。值得研究的是把长期目标持续变成现实能力的方法，而非那句口号。